recording.
All
All
right.
right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 7 of the Winston Boys podcast, delivering philosophical debates every Sunday afternoon that make you healthier, wealthier, and wiser. My name is Kush.
And my name is Alex. And today we have for you, we got three little kind of mini discussions. The first one is we're going to talk about whether or not there's objective morality. And so kind of we're going to see like, is there true, like, is there moral truth? Like, is there some things that are definitely good or definitely bad? And then we're going to talk about what is a country's obligation to its non-residents. So like, for instance, if there are refugees coming into a country, what does that country have? Does that country have any obligation to those people? And then third, we're going to talk about the trolley problem, which is a consequentialist like versus action perspective. So basically like, if I'm driving a trolley, should I pull the lever or and change? Let's say there's groups of people on the tracks. Under what circumstances should I pull the trolley or pull the lever and make the trolley take the different track so it hits a different person than it would have hit if I left it on its initial track, right? And we'll get more to that later. It's a little bit of a confusing topic. Yeah, but I kind of wanted to start off talking. I got my second COVID vaccine. And as promised, I kind of had a weird reaction. They kind of told everyone before you took it. The second COVID vaccine can make you feel pretty weird for a few days or pretty bad, like you got the flu or something. And I definitely felt weird. So I thought I'd tell our viewers about that because it's kind of interesting for a lot of people right now who are going to be getting that vaccine.
Yeah. What happened? Oh, sorry. I mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
So I know we were talking about it before. Like, what happened that made you go to the ER? Because I remember that was a big thing.
So I ended up going to the ER last Tuesday. The Tuesday before last Tuesday. So like like 10 days ago. I don't know, 11 days ago, something like that. So what happened was I got the shot, and about 20 minutes later, I started feeling kind of dizzy and kind of nauseous, and like I might pass out or something. So I figured I was having an allergic reaction to the vaccine, and I went into the ER. My symptoms were pretty much I just had like a high heart rate and elevated blood pressure. And so I stayed there for a few hours. They did an EKG to make sure my heart wasn't like messing up or something. And they sent me home because I wasn't really feeling anything anymore. Now, the weird part was the next day, that evening, I had similar symptoms. And I was kind of short of breath both times too. So I was like short of breath. My heart was racing. I got really cold. And so I almost went to the ER again, but it's so expensive to go to the ER. I just waited it out. And so the next day I went to urgent care and had some, they pretty much just looked at me and were like, yeah, your blood pressure's high. And normally my blood pressure is low. I have like 110. It was like 140 or something, which is like hypertensive, which is weird for me, like I said. So something was definitely going on. So anyway, all being said and done, I've had a few doctor's appointments since then. They've run a whole bunch of tests. There's nothing wrong with me. The vaccine doesn't seem to have done any long-term harm, and I've been getting better every day. And I absolutely encourage everyone to get the vaccine. However, there's definitely side effects out there, and there's definitely unknowns with it. And I think it's important that you report if you have a weird side effect that isn't listed, or report if you have a serious side effect, because scientists want to know more about this vaccine, and the more we know, the more, the better off things are. So I definitely encourage our viewers for that. Yeah, do you have, what questions do you have?
Yeah, I mean, I was honestly, when you mentioned it, I was wondering about the ER thing, if everything was all right with that. But
yeah, it was honestly all fine. Like I didn't require any medical intervention. I didn't have anything life-threatening. I just felt weird and wanted to get checked out. And I also, the other thing I really did was I slept a lot. I don't know why, but I mean, probably like 10 to 12 hours a day I was sleeping. Like, I mean, not like that's with sleeping at night, but like I would stay in bed all day, which is really not like me at all. And just like, I wouldn't even like want to sit up and like watch, like play video games or anything. I just like lay in bed and watch Netflix. So,
wow,
really weird for me. But I think in the past 4 or 5 days, like in the past, no, I guess really in the past week, I've noticed like a really dramatic improvement.
that's good.
And like today, like last night, I probably slept like 7 hours, and I've been going all day. I went hiking today. I went for like a full 5-mile hike with my friends. We went to
Where'd you go?
Hanging Rock.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we did the Moore's Wall loop, which was kind of fun.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I mean, I had a good time. I didn't feel anything weird. My heart wasn't racing. I didn't feel dizzy or anything. I haven't had anything like that. I've got a little heart monitor right here. That like
Oh,
I
really?
push if I feel something weird. Yeah, and it logs my heartbeat for 10 days. I think it's gonna fall off in the next day or two. It's super itchy,
Yeah.
but I'm glad they put it
Really?
on. Yeah, and honestly, like I had an appointment with a cardiologist, but like there's nothing wrong with my heart. I think I'm gonna cancel it. Like, what's the point? It was just an
Yeah.
allergic reaction that was weird. So like, or an immune response or something. I don't even know what to call it. But I'm gonna go to an allergist and stuff, or an immunologist, and just get their opinion on it, kind of for scientific curiosity as much as anything else, because the symptoms are gone pretty much.
Hmm.
But yeah,
At least you're feeling better though.
I'm so
That's the important
grateful.
thing.
And it's really nice. I have so much peace of mind now. I don't have to wonder where my friends have been, or like, if my waiter has COVID, you know what I mean? I just like, I don't know. Like I'm probably, even if I get COVID, I'd probably just have like a sniffle, if anything. So like
Yeah.
super, super nice. And like I
Actually,
said,
just
yeah,
oh, no, sorry, go ahead. I didn't know you weren't done.
I'm done.
Okay. No. So I thought that was like the last bit, so I was hopping in right at the end.
Oh yeah,
But
I was just gonna say, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
so for our viewers, the vaccine is supposed to be like 95, 96% effective. It might be not up to like 98% effective. We don't really know all the way. It's
Yeah.
effective against different variants. I got the Pfizer vaccine, if anyone was wondering. And yeah, so go out and get vaccinated as soon as you're able to. It's really, really great. Yeah. All right, so let's move on here. I think we're trying to stay on a schedule today, and I am
Yeah.
very wordy. So let's go ahead. And
No,
Christian,
you're fine.
what would you like to start off talking about with?
Uh we can go in order, honestly.
Okay,
Do you wanna start
so
with
yeah, so this is one of
yeah.
my personal pet peeves as a philosopher. So I'm kind of interested to see what you got to say about it. So I
Yeah.
think that I guess since it's kind of my thing, I'll go ahead and I hate to keep talking. Do you want to
That,
talk about objective morality, or do you want me to start it off and you can?
that's fine. You can introduce it and then I'm sure I'll have something to say about it.
Okay. So my views on objective morality. So the idea of objective morality is that on some level there's good and bad, fundamentally in the universe, right? As a moral fact, if you're looking at the universe from a moral perspective, right? So like, maybe me shooting someone over a donut is very clearly an example of something bad, right? I mean, come on, over a donut, dude, really? And giving an orphan an ice cream cone, if they're hungry and hot on a summer day is like a good thing to do, okay?
Mhm.
So there's a lot of people who would push back and say, well, how do you know what's objectively good and objectively bad? And there's no way to standardize that, et cetera, et cetera. And I agree. I'm a physicist and a philosopher, right? I recognize the importance of being specific. But I think it's really hard to say with any sort of a moral system at all that there's no good and bad, even if you have one belief that one thing is good, or like there's a basic. So for instance, if I believe that happiness is good, I'm a hedonist. That means I think pleasure is the only thing that's really good. And I think we should all just try to have as much pleasure as we can, and make decisions that bring as much pleasure to humanity as we can. In that case, I think that in that case, you're saying, well, pleasure is good and not having pleasure is bad, right? Or pain is bad, or whatever you want to say. So anyway, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah. I don't okay, so I'm trying to figure out where to even start with this one. I feel like okay, so here's a take that I'm gonna try playing with just to kick this off. Um like okay, I'll start with a question. How much of it, based on what you've studied, do you think is society, and how much of it do you think is human nature? Because I think that's where maybe I can start to pick at it.
Well, I would say most societies agree that we shouldn't do certain things, like we shouldn't like kill without like a good reason, right?
Hmm.
Um, you shouldn't take things that aren't yours, right? Um, I think that most, you shouldn't harm other people, right? For fun or something like that, right? I think there are things that almost any society would agree upon, right? Where like cruelty, is frowned upon, and breaking societal norms is frowned upon. Now, of course, the societal norms vary from place to place, right? In
Yeah.
the Middle Ages, maybe in some society, European society, in a lot of European society, sex for unmarried women was very taboo, right? Whereas sex for unmarried men was totally pretty much accepted, right? Like there wasn't a whole lot of, like you're kind of supposed to go and, they have a house and whatnot. Okay.
Mhm.
And, like, now does that mean that one is, objectively bad? Women having sex is objectively bad and men having sex is, fine, or like, not objectively bad or objectively good, or whatever you want to say premaritally, right? Obviously, no, that's like, I don't believe in double standards, for one. And for two, like, that wouldn't make any sense anyway. So, but yeah, obviously, like, it's a societal difference. And of course, a societal judgment can be good or bad as well, right? If you're a society that enslaves people, I think we can say that's morally bad. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, so I guess here's like another example that I could throw in there. Like I think one of the more common ones that you hear a lot is like if you look at like terrorists and then like people who try to play with it from both sides of that perspective. So it's kind of like, I mean, from our perspective, like if someone commits like an act of terror, it was like let's say they do it for like a religious reason or whatever. It's like it seems objectively bad to us. And I mean, I'm not trying to justify anyone doing anything like up like that,
yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like it's obviously it's not a good thing. And I mean, but if you think about it from like their perspective, which again, I'm not trying to piss anyone off, but like from their perspective, it's like they're like a martyr, like they're doing something for what they believe is actually true, or for what they believe is actually right. So I mean, like I feel I feel like there's a lot of like since the world's so connected, like I think we all have influence on each other, and that's why like a lot of cultures are kind of like that's why it might seem like a lot of different cultures believe the same stuff, but I feel like there's still cultures out there that we can like look at that like they what they believe is correct is like very different than what we believe is correct. I don't know if that's making any sense. I'm trying to find
No,
something to latch
I
onto.
agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of complexity out there, and I certainly wouldn't be comfortable with saying, well, Alex Marshall should determine what's right and what's wrong, right? Like, no, I'm saying the universe knows, and I've got no idea, right? Of course, I try to do what's the right thing to do, right?
Mhm.
But I don't have any idea, and it certainly isn't dependent on my cultural beliefs or my beliefs in general, right? Or what I think is true or not true, right? And that goes
Mhm.
for everyone else. You know what I mean? Um, if let's say the Unabomber thinks he's saving people, I don't know, for God or something, sending people to heaven. I don't know. Okay, let's pretend I'm a terrorist who thinks I'm sending people to heaven. Okay,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of deranged or something. Okay, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what I think about that because it's still wrong, right? It does. If
Yeah.
I'm a Nazi, it doesn't matter if I think that, you know, killing minorities or people I don't like is righteous and good. It's bad, right? Which
Yeah.
is one of my biggest arguments for objective morality is, if there's no objective morality, how do you say Hitler's bad if there's no good and bad, right? Like,
Yeah,
now
but maybe
I'm
from
not saying that there's not gray cases or cases where I'm certainly not one to decide, but I think we can all agree Hitler bad, okay? Beating up a little
yeah.
kid who's helpless bad, okay?
Yeah.
Um, and those are things that I feel pretty comfortable with saying, we shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. Well, okay, here's an easier example to talk about because I know we've kind of like been searching for an example to latch onto. So here's one that might be easier to look at both sides objectively. So like Thanos from like Avengers, right? Like if he snaps his fingers and half the people like disappear, right? Then like I think what his whole pitch was that like famine and suffering and all this stuff ends. But if he doesn't, then we're going to a place where everyone's going to be suffering, but everyone stays. So I mean, it's like there. Do you think the same thing applies? Just because like I see you have a reaction already.
I've just got like, I liked Thanos. I liked
Yeah.
his character. I really did. I thought they did a. I thought he deserved a better argument. I think just
Really?
snapping his fingers and deleting half the universe. Have you seen how fast? Look at a population curve, okay, for the human race. It's like, okay, it's not
Yeah.
like it'll take 70, 60, 70 years for the population to be restored. What's he gonna do? Snap his fingers every 60 or 70 years to keep fixing it? Like, and that was kind of a thing rooted in the current overpopulation crisis, right? I think, I don't think that was just that wasn't I don't think that Thanos's idea came from a vacuum, right? I think it's kind of a culturally relevant discussion, right? Of we have too many people, we have too much demand on the Earth's resources. What are we going to do about it? And I think Thanos's argument kind of sprang from that, right? It's kind of on a very extreme, but still is an environmentalist view and kind of a Malthusian view, right? We're like, well, there's not enough room in the planet. What are we going to do about it? And of course, Thanos is obviously what he was doing was terrible and not the right way to go about it. But his concern there was one that we are all too familiar with, right?
Yeah.
But I think that his method was stupid. I mean, that doesn't even work.
Yeah. But I guess what you're so there are you saying that objectively, I guess what you are saying, because you're using math, right? So math has to be objective.
Yeah, I'd say math is, I mean, if anything's objective, you can always make the argument that all our reality is an illusion and you don't know anything. But I mean, in that case, just, I don't know, get out of here. I have nothing to say to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
How do you argue with that?
So, okay. So I guess yeah. Okay. So maybe he had a bad solution.
So what I'm saying is,
would that mean is that like, if there were some way, like, let's say he didn't snap, like, let's say half the population did disappear, like 98% of it disappeared, and there was just enough for everyone to like, I mean, I don't know what the right number would be, but there was just enough for like everyone to have a social circle that, or like a number of people that
enough
they could
people
never
to keep
acquire.
going without.
Yeah. Okay. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think that killing more people isn't really the answer I was going for there.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying, would it objectively be the wrong thing?
Yes, I would say absolutely. But
then would the overpopulation and the famine and all that stuff be like, would it be
you'd be kicking it further down the road? It would still become a problem again. You'd have to do it again in 500 years. I mean, it doesn't solve the problem. If he snapped his fingers and was like, okay, everyone can only have one kid until they're at a sustainable level or something, and I'll decide when that is. That would probably be pretty morally acceptable to me, right? If he was like, okay, I'm going to snap my fingers. Every human female can only produce one time. And we're just going to institute that. Like, I would be more okay with that because at least you're not killing people. I'm not saying that's a great solution or that's ethical or anything else, right? But I can almost argue for it. There's no way I can argue for killing 98% of the human population, right, as a solution to overpopulation.
Yeah.
So I would say, yes, it's objectively bad. I would say that that's pretty. And I think that, if you don't say, and here's the thing, by using the words objective morality, right, that doesn't mean that there's good and bad and I'll try to wrap it up here. Good and bad and, a lot of shades of gray or anything, or that there's, only the light and only the evil, okay, and there's like a little devil and angel talking on your shoulder, and every action you do is either good or bad at one point. All there has to be for objective morality is either good or bad on a fundamental level, right? So like somewhere in the universe, there's something good and something bad, right? And everything else can be shades of gray in between. See what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like, for instance, if I were a hedonist and I think the only good is pleasure and the only bad is displeasure, right? Pain, whatever you want to call it. That's fine, right? Like that's still objective morality. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't really know. I couldn't find anything in there to latch onto, but I made my multiple arguments in there.
Yeah. So I think we can move on.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard to argue against any sort of objective morality. Well, it's very easy to argue against, there's an angel and a devil on both your shoulders.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, no, I think this one will get more
classic
interesting.
Good versus
evil. I think this will become a lot more interesting once we get to the trolley problem at the end. I think that's when this same conversation will become a lot more solidified.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So countries. Yeah. So this is kind of similar-ish. We're doing a lot of ethics today. So what do you think your countries, and I'm going to let you go first on this one because I've kind of been hogging the mic here. What is a
No, you're
country's
good.
obligation to non-residents?
Yeah. So I remember, yeah, so we briefly discussed this earlier. So mine again, like as I said, or I guess viewers haven't heard it. So I feel like the short answer is that like there are none. I mean the country it's not like a living thing. I mean it's just countries were made for like the people who are a part of them, right? Like I don't know if that's making sense, but it's not. I mean it's a country, you know, like
Yeah, of course.
anyway, I can't find the right way to articulate that. But that's my short answer. My long answer though is that like in my opinion, like in the world, like some country or some group of countries is going to have to take a leadership position because that I mean that's just human nature. Like leadership has to exist. Like there's no way to like have it purely be we're just kind of all off doing our own things. I mean, like we share the same resources. Like I mean, someone's got to take leadership, is what I'm saying. And
Right.
so, like when countries push for that, or when they try to take on that position and they start getting involved in other countries' affairs, I think at that point, like it's just their responsibility, like without it even being written down on paper, to make sure that they're doing things ethically. Um, I mean, does that like make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and yeah, I think that you're kind of not by name, which I appreciate, but you're kind of referring to the United States there, right? Which is like, as the world's still by a bit, okay, leading superpower, I would say that's pretty uncontroversial, with others up and coming, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, right? We kind of, I think you're saying we or someone, anyone in our position, really, if it were the Roman Empire, for instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, us in the current moment, kind of have an obligation to do things in a certain way, right? A certain way that's not going to, we have an obligation not to just nuke random countries or, use our power for evil, right? We need to kind of try to use our authority for good, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm saying if we do want to be the country that's in that leadership position, then it becomes different because at that point we're not just saying, hey, we're off doing our own thing. At that point we're saying, hey, like at the end of the day we're kind of in charge of you. And so there it's like it's a little bit different in my mind. And I mean it also just to take it in a bit of a different direction. I think this is also something that I remember discussing earlier when all the COVID stuff started with Trump, which was that I remember his whole like America first kind of stance was like, hey, like America first, let's not, go into Europe and help out all these countries that usually depend on us in situations like these. Um, and there, I mean, we saw that like those countries, like, I mean, they're definitely like suffering. I mean, we didn't. I'm trying to think of the best way to say it. It's like they. I mean, it, we didn't really have like, or at least based on what I saw in the news, I don't think that like we like us not being involved had a devastating impact on them because I think eventually like China and these countries stepped in and helped out anyway.
I don't know
Um,
anything about the issue, to be honest with you.
but I mean, this is just what I
So
remember from the news. Like I don't
I
know
believe
anything
you.
about it either. But like what I do remember that like it was just like these are all countries that had depended on us, and had there not been other countries willing to step in and help out, like they I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just trying to talk until I find something to
I
say.
got you. So I'll respond a little bit. I'm surprised at this, but I think I'm actually a little bit more I hate to say this, because I'm not a MAGA or pro-Trumper. I'm pretty anti-Trump, to be honest with you. Hate to say that, but I really didn't agree with most of what he did at all. But I'm a little bit America first, to be honest with you. I think that now, not because I think Americans are the best or anything else, and I'm not an ethnicist or racist or anything like that. I'm not saying because of any of those reasons. The reason I say that is I think that as a country, right? Are you frozen? Hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
Our video got weird. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you good.
I want to
I
make
think
sure
I'm
everyone's on the
closing
same.
out some tabs because I'm a little
Okay, you're
slow.
fine. You're fine. Um, I just want to make sure we were still on. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So I think that a country's first obligation is to its citizens, right? Before anyone else. Now, to a certain degree, right? I think that obviously you still need to treat other human beings as human beings, but you don't need to treat them as citizens, right? For
Yeah.
instance, America, in this case, I'm going to go and disagree with you. I'm going to say, look, America needs to vaccinate its own. I think America should vaccinate all its own high-risk elderly citizens before it sends any vaccines abroad, right? Because, look, we're Americans. If we're making American vaccines for, right, like our government is supposed to provide for us. Our government is supposed to protect us. Our government is supposed to, you know, do things for its people, right? It serves its constituency, right? It's not supposed to serve Lithuanian elderly. It's supposed to serve American elderly, right? They're the constituency. And I think that it's pretty important in democracy and any system of government, really, that you really make sure that not that you ignore the needs of other people, but given the same needs in your own country, you address the needs of your own country first, right? I mean, if
Yeah.
I had $10 million to spend on fighting poverty, I would spend the $10 million if I were the president, okay, let's say, or governor, or whatever. I'd spend it in my community, in my constituency, before I spent it abroad, right? Because I'm taking tax dollars from the people in my community to help out the poor in my community. I shouldn't go spend it in Nicaragua, right? No matter how deserving the Nicaraguans are, I'm sure they are. I have empathy for the Nicaraguans. And as soon as and if there are people who are in a more dire situation there, maybe here they just want, maybe we want to buy laptops for schools, and there they want drinking water. Yeah, okay, send some money for drinking water, and then once that's fixed, maybe put some money towards schools in your own community, right? And buying computers for the schools, right? There's a kind of a difference of needs there. But like for COVID vaccines, I think saying Americans, we finish vaccinating our vulnerable and elderly first, and then we start distributing it to other people. I'm perfectly fine with saying, like, I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah. Actually, I agree with you. I think Trump was a bad example.
It
But
seems
I
like
mean,
sometimes
yeah,
if you associate an idea with Trump, it's like,
yeah.
I don't even want to agree with it.
Yeah, going back though to my first point, I guess so again, like as I kind of like led with, like I think that just like to like the short answer to this question is like, I mean, a country really doesn't have any responsibility to any of its non-residents. I don't think it really should have. I mean, I don't think it has any authority over its non-residents either. Um, but I guess what I'm saying is that, like, if we went in, like, for example, like if we went into a country like Nicaragua, right, and we start like let's say they're having like some kind of like revolution, and we go in to for some reason to try and like help them out or to like bring order back. I think at that point, like, we have an obligation to their people because we're going in and trying to like take control, if that makes sense.
Right.
So it's
Yeah,
like
I absolutely agree.
yeah,
If
yeah,
you're imposing authority, you need to provide assurances.
yeah. But I mean that's I mean that's the only thoughts I have on that. I'm not sure, like, I mean, are there any like situations where that gets like complicated? Anywhere where it's like hard to objectively say like what's right?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where I, who believe in objective morality, would say I have no idea what's objectively right.
Yeah.
Maybe if I die and go to heaven and meet God, I can ask him. But like, right, if you believe in
Yeah.
those things. But like, I think that there's no way, even like I said, I firmly believe in objective morality. I have no idea. And I don't think anyone who claims to know what's objectively right in such a complicated situation, right? Or and honestly, in almost any real life situation that's at all complicated, it's you're getting up in a shade of gray, right? Where you're doing some things that are hopefully 101 actions that are objectively right and 100 actions that are objectively wrong, right? The goal is to do things that are more right than wrong, but we're humans and we make mistakes. I think intention is very important, it's very hard,
Yeah.
when you go into a country and you invade somewhere, it's really hard to say, what exactly is best to do, right? Nuking Japan, right? Should we have nuked Japan? I don't even think I can judge because I don't know what would have happened if we hadn't, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
would they have fought to the last man? Would they have surrendered as soon as the boats dropped anchor? And they would have been like, okay, we really weren't going to fight that hard. We were just hoping we'd get like more favorable surrender terms. Did we just kill hundreds of thousands of people for no reason? Or did we save millions of lives? I don't know. And the people who made the decisions certainly didn't know. They knew less than I did.
Yeah.
So I think that in such cases, you need to be very charitable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh man, I think I know where this is headed. I feel like this whole episode, like we've been looking for things to latch onto, or at least me personally, like I've just kind of been talking and hoping I land somewhere. But I think every time we've gotten to anything that remotely resembles a point, it's sounding a lot like the trolley problem. So I
I
think I
know,
know
it
where this
really
is
is.
headed.
Do you pull the lever and drop the nuke, or do you just run over all the people who are going to die defending Japan?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like
I
a
will say
lose-lose situation here.
we've got about a minute left in this segment. We
Okay.
could finish out the segment. I mean, the last one went over, so we
Yeah.
could finish out the full 10 minutes of this, or we could just hop straight into
Let's do the
trolley
trolley
problem.
problem. That was such a
All
beautiful
right.
intro. You want to start us off?
Oh man, I don't know. You got to start this one
Okay,
off.
I'll start us off. I'll do it.
Yeah.
All right. So the trolley problem is this, right? Let's say that one of our lovely viewers is driving down a track, or they're standing by the track. They're not even driving. They're standing by the track, and there's a trolley hurtling towards poor Kushagra's slumped body. Okay, he had too much to drink and he passed out on the railroad tracks. Okay,
I don't
and
like that
unfortunately,
example.
unfortunately, I stumbled a few more paces and then also slumped across the other fork in the track. There's a fork. Kushagra's passed out on one track, and I'm drunk, passed out on the other. You can't stop the trolley, and you have to make a decision. Do you pull the lever and make it hit me, or do you let the fate fulfill its course? Fate, if you believe in such things, fulfill its course and bisect poor Kushagra. Right?
All right.
Now, there are, of course, a lot of variations on this. What if on one side we've got Kushagra, and then on the other side we have me and my 10 closest friends?
Yeah. Let's just start with the first. Let's go case by case. Let's start with the first one.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you say to the first one? We'll say me and Caleb. You know my friend Caleb. Caleb is my sweet mate.
Yeah. Okay, well now that it's Caleb passed out there, like now I can make a bit of, if it was just me, I'd be like, dude, I'm fucking selfish. Like
of course. No, it's gotta be someone else. Yeah. So it's me and Caleb passed out on the tracks. And let's say I'm in the path of because you know me a lot better, right? I would hope at least that you would choose to save me. Maybe Caleb is so charismatic you choose to save him. I don't know. But I'm just in front of the trolley and it's gonna run me over anyway. Or you could pull the lever and hit Caleb instead, right? Which he wasn't fated to die. You're kind of killing him now, right? He was going to walk away and live to tell the tale, but you're also saving your friend.
Well, I mean, okay. So you brought up this is a bit of a sidetrack, but I'll get back to it. But you brought up the word fate, right?
Yeah.
But like, what if fate was that I was going to pull the lever because only like in the universe that we're in now, right? Like only one thing only one thing will happen.
In the space-time continuum, one thing happens. You're right. One thing be.
Yeah. So technically, if I did pull the lever, then that was fate.
Yeah. What was it?
You know what I mean?
I think they said it in Star Trek or something. I don't remember. They were like, well, what if this is God's plan? Well, this is God's plan. I'm sure not going to screw it up if God has a plan. God's going to get what he wants.
Yeah.
If there's really a plan out there, I'm not powerful enough to challenge it. So yeah, I agree with you. The fate thing is bullshit. I agree.
But yeah, but I will get back to your initial question. So this is like a scenario where the train's already headed towards you, or like I could divert it and have it go towards Caleb, right? Yeah. So it's like here's the thing, like it's exactly like you were saying, like it's kind of biased because I know you a lot better than I know Caleb. So like even though this is kind of fucked up to say, it's like the values that I would put on like the two things, they would be different. I don't know how they would be different, but it would be different. You know what I mean?
Caleb's a nice guy and a human being, but you've known me for God, how long has it been now?
Like 8 years. Yeah, I think 8 years.
Almost 10.
9. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, 9 probably. Yeah.
That's a while. So yeah, I mean, I would like to imagine that I would be, objective or motivated by some higher thing, right? But I mean, if it were you or some random person or, my mom or the president of the United States, God, that president's dead, dude. I don't care who it is. He a goner, okay? Whoever it is, the Pope, okay? Jesus Christ. Yeah. Jesus Christ is getting run over by the train, dude. I'm saving my mama.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
But I think that the big thing for me here that we kind of haven't looked at yet is in one thing, Kushagra, in pulling the lever, right? Now, in pulling the lever, you're saving your friend. But if you don't pull the lever, you just failed to act. You didn't actually do anything. You're not responsible for my death.
Yeah.
Makes sense. You didn't act to cause my death, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm not involved at all.
right. So in other words, what I'm saying is, if there's a big difference, to me at least, in my perception. Now I'm not even going to try to prove this. I'm just going to say it. But to me, there's a big difference between watching someone drown and pushing them under. You see what I'm saying? In one, you're the killer. In the other, even if you could have saved them, you're not the killer. You might be wrong, but you're not a murderer. You see what I'm saying? You're just a dick. You know what I mean? But you're not a killer.
Yeah.
I don't know, right? The water did the killing, right? But if you're holding them under, you're drowning them. You know what I mean? There's a big difference. Or if you push them into the, same thing with the trolley, where I think that if you pull that lever, I don't want to call you a murderer, but you're something closer to it, right? Obviously, like you killed Caleb. You know what I mean? He's dead because you pulled that lever, right? Whereas me, you could have said, well, I got homework to do. It's not my job. I'm going to leave. Place to be, I got to go clean up for my date. Sorry, Alex, and then I get run over. Not your fault. Go to the funeral. Sorry. That's really unfortunate that happened. What was I going to do?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's interesting. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you on the action versus inaction thing. Like that's the way that I would look at it also. It's just like if I don't do anything, then it's like it's almost like I wasn't involved. But in a way,
you can always make the argument that you chose not to do something, but I don't know.
Yeah. But when it comes time to go to court, in one scenario, you're probably gonna be looking at like life in prison, and in the other one, you're probably just going to be like a witness to some horrible accident.
Right. And let's not worry about the legal ramifications, because
and I'm not a lawyer, by the way. I don't know anything about law. Please, if someone watches this and knows something about law, do not like roast me, because I don't know anything about law. I'm totally talking out of my ass.
Yeah. We don't want any of our viewers going out and pulling levers based on our legal advice, which we are not giving. If you see a trolley rolling towards your friend and a random stranger, don't base your decision based on what I'm saying. You just see it. We're imprisoned for. Honestly, that'd be funny. I'd just laugh. So I mean, it's complicated, because on one hand you're choosing to pull the lever, and then on the other hand, are you choosing not to pull the lever? I still think the inaction trumps that, right? Your argument that I didn't do anything. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but there is the other case that you were about to explain that I cut you off before you could explain it.
What was the other case?
Where it's one person and then multiple people.
Oh, yeah. So usually people are inclined, and I think this is pretty much right, to, if they're two strangers, let's just say two middle-aged men of similar age and background or whatever else, and you just don't know them, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I think the right thing to do is not to pull the lever, right? Like I think most people would agree. If there's no reason to interfere, don't interfere, right?
Yeah.
Because then at least there's not blood on your hands, right?
But I think I think the one that I thought you were going to reference.
No, I'm going to get there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
So let's say then you've got two people on the side that are going to get hit, right? There are two people in the tracks, right? Me and Caleb are passed out on the first track, and God, who passed out on the other track, okay?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh man, I gotta beep out the names now. I can't.
Oh no, okay. I'm sorry. I'll stop using.
It's sorry.
Yeah. So two people, on one track, and one person on the other track, right? Do you pull the lever then, right? Do you always pull the lever if there's two people on one track? What if there's one old lady having her last gasps on the main track, right? Or on the side track, right? And on the main track is, me and all my youth, right? With another, hopefully 60 years to live. Okay. No reason I shouldn't live another 60 years, right? I'm a pretty healthy guy. Do you pull the lever? Because she's clearly, she's already hooked up to oxygen. Maybe she has a year to live at best. Okay. She's on the heart transplant list and she's not going to make it. Okay. Do you pull the lever then?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's like an interesting one, because again, like if I answer the question honestly, it's like, I don't want to go to prison. So in reality, if I was in the situation, I probably wouldn't.
You're in like Siberia, dude. There's no policeman for 800 miles. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I think it's interesting. Because I remember like we had like a situation similar to that. I remember I talked about like one of my classes in high school. It was like if you saw a train going towards a group of people, but you were like standing up on like a little bridge and you could push a really fat guy off the bridge to stop the train, like would you do it? Right. And like let's say like, it's like it's kind of interesting because it's like, well, like I mean, at that point, it goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning, where it's like if you push him off, you're literally you're killing him, like you're doing it, like it was you, or like you could just watch this like massacre happen, but then you like live the rest of your life with the regret of
Yeah.
like knowing that you could have done something to stop it. You know what I mean?
Yes. I'm gonna show you a clip. Hang on.
All right, we're at 25 seconds left on
Okay.
this argument, but yeah, no, I think
I'm gonna try to
it's
find this clip.
okay. Um,
Okay. So in The Office, this is sort of random, but in The Office, I don't know if have you watched The Office at all?
yeah.
You know, Dwight and what's the older guy?
Creed,
Dwight.
Michael.
No.
Uh, is are you sure you're not talking about Creed?
Hang on just a sec.
Creed's the old guy who.
I can't remember. Anyway, someone has a heart attack.
Mhm.
It's like the fire episode. Stanley, that's right, Stanley.
Okay.
Stanley has a heart attack because Dwight sets off the fire alarm as like a drill because he's the emergency safety dude for the office, the emergency safety manager for the office. And he sets off the fire alarm, and Stanley's like and has a heart attack because he gets stressed out and he's fat and diabetic. Okay.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, Dwight, why did you do that? You almost killed Stanley, you jerk. And Dwight was like, I didn't kill Stanley. It was 30 years of bad diet and no exercise that almost killed Stanley. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
And I think there's an element of truth to that, where if you're fat enough to stop a train, you're not going to be around for much longer. Okay. You weigh a few thousand pounds. There's
Yeah.
no way. Okay. You know how big a train is?
Yeah.
It wasn't me that pushed him. Okay. It was way too much food.
It was Isaac Newton with his gravity.
It wasn't me, man. It was the potential
Oh,
energy.
man.
Okay.
Please don't cancel me. That wasn't a fat joke. That was a physics joke.
Yeah, no, I'm not fat shaming at all. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
there's a lot more potential energy there, just waiting to happen. No, but seriously, I think that there's definitely a lot of variables to consider there, and I think that there needs to be some sort of consideration based on. Yeah, we're wrapping up. But there needs to be some kind of consideration based on, how much quality of life do you expect this person has left? What do you think, is this person, if this person dies right now, is it going to like leave a massive hole in the world, right? Like, is it the president of the United States, right? What's going to happen if he gets run over? Okay. Like maybe nothing good, right? If it's something really bad's going to happen, right? A surgeon, right? Who's the only one who can perform a life-saving operation on a cute little kid or something. Okay.
Yeah.
Things like that. So those are all considerations. So it's a really complicated moral issue, but yeah, I think that, it's interesting. Any closing thoughts on it?
No, I agree with what you said. I think it's really interesting. I think honestly, our whole discussion of today was just leading up to this moment.
It really did, and it really wasn't intentional.
Yeah.
But
But
I'm glad it did.
Anyway, do you wanna do the first bit of the outro and then I do the second bit and then we get people on out of here?
I still don't know where the outro is, man.
I don't think we have it written down. I think it was just like you like yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks for listening, guys. I hope we had an interesting philosophical chat for you today. I think we kind of decided there's some sort of objective morality, it seems, right? I think we both sort of agree on that, at least on some level.
No, I agree with everything that you said, by the way. Like I couldn't find an argument this whole. I was searching for one so hard I couldn't find one to make.
I think that we had a pretty balanced discussion of country's obligation to non-residents. I think you have a really good point. I think you have a little bit of a stronger clause there if you're a world leader or someone with a lot of power, which I really liked, and I hadn't really considered that for different countries. So I'm actually going to go and side with you on that one. And then the trolley problem. Yeah, I mean, I think we both kind of agreed from the outset.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different factors, but if it's all other things being even, don't pull the lever.
Yeah.
But other things, it's shades of gray.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for listening, everyone. We hope you enjoyed our conversation, and smash that like button. What's the object for today, Kush?
Yeah, so I was gonna say, so if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to take your trolley and smash that like button with it as hard as you can.
And make sure not to hit anyone in the meantime.
Yeah, don't do that. And also, if you enjoy our content, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get updates every time we post a video, which should be every Sunday at 9:30 a.m. unless my Wi-Fi cuts out the way it did last weekend, in which case it'll be later in the afternoon on Sunday. But that's all from me. I'll see you guys next week. And Alex, would you also like to say goodbye?
I will also see you guys next week. Farewell, and see you next week from the Winston Boys.
Yeah. See you guys.
Bye-bye.